So hi guys, it's Virginia here again. And I know a couple of days ago I put up a video about how Rey is Luke Skywalker's daughter, and this is yet again another Star Wars video. But I've really gotten back into this series and I really have a lot to talk about, especially with this new movie. So I'm deciding to post up as many videos as I can with as much new information as I can. But this video is completely unrelated. Completely unrelated to the last video. I just want to post about some things I hope for the new Star Wars trilogy. I know you just saw like the computer shake even though I have it on my legs. It's because I actually wrote something, because the more you think about it, the more you actually realize what you want from the series. And these are my hopes. And my hopes aren't everyone else's hopes. But I think a lot of these actually are pretty, like, from what I can tell on Tumblr and stuff, a lot of these things are like what a lot of people want. But it's just like we all want the same things. Come on, writers, you can do this. I don't actually know where to start, but I think I'm going to start with my hopes for Luke, because his isn't a big, like, hope, but I really, really want them to not fuck up Luke's character. Don't let him be a pussy bitch about having to train Jedi, kind of like Obi-Wan was, because I'm not saying Obi-Wan's a bad character. I adore Obi-Wan. Adore him. But when he had to come back and start training Luke, he's just like, I don't know about this. All standoffish, like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I just had a big fuck up. Don't let Luke be like that. I mean, yes, there are a lot of parallels between how Obi-Wan and Luke looked, but don't let Luke act like Obi-Wan, because they're so different as characters. So keep Luke's old character traits. He embraced the emotions he did feel without allowing them to control him. So that's important. And he's the type of person to get down to business. Like, when the next movie starts, I want to see Luke training Rey and not being like, oh, this isn't a good idea. You know what happened with Kylo, right? No, just screw that. F that noise. Fuck that noise. That's not who Luke is. Let him be Luke. Don't make him the Mary Sue Obi-Wan incarnate, please. And I've seen a lot of people say that. Like, they don't, because they fear that they're gonna have Luke be like, I don't know, man. This isn't a good idea. But no, that's not who Luke is. Let him be Luke. Don't make him be Obi-Wan. Please. Now my next big hope is for Force-sensitive Finn. I really want Force-sensitive Finn, like, aggressively. Because it's just like, they call him a traitor, they call him this, they call him that, and it's just like, if he's Force-sensitive, oh shit. I know I'm cursing a lot in this video, and I'm sorry about that. But I know you're thinking, how is he gonna be Force-sensitive? He was trained and brainwashed by the First Order to be a stormtrooper. How is it possible he could be Force-sensitive? Well, the First Order basically just abducted children from family without any regard to their race, background, family, whatever. They just abducted children from families. So, like, we don't actually know who Finn's parents were. We don't know who his grandparents were. How do we not know? Who's to say that his parents aren't Force-sensitive in some way? And let's say maybe his mom is a little Force-sensitive and his dad's a little Force-sensitive, but when they had him, somehow he got a lot of Force energy or something like that. Who's to say that that's not true? And just because he was brainwashed by the First Order doesn't mean he can't be Force-sensitive. And that would fuck up Kylo so much. And I just have this intense, like, vision of the next movie where Luke is training Rey in a forest. I know it's a forest because, like, why not? But Luke is training Rey in the forest, and Finn is watching because he's curious, she's his friend, whatever. And he's just watching, and then all of a sudden, in the middle, like, Rey swings the lightsaber, and she has, like, and then he just, like, stops and freezes. This expression comes over his face, and he just, like, and then Luke doesn't see this, but he feels the energy from him, and then turns and looks at him and says, "You feel it, don't you?" And then Finn, taken aback by the, like, feeling of the Force, he's just like, "Feel what?" And then Luke walks over to Finn, Rey staring at him because she feels it too. And Luke just hands him the lightsaber, one end of it, and it's down. It's just the, like, thing now. He just like holds it at him, and he's just like, "You feel the Force, don't you?" And that's where it happens. I just have this intense vision of that happening, and I would be so satisfied if that actually happened. Okay, so I talked about Luke, I talked about Finn. That's my big hope for Finn. That's my big hope for Finn. I really want that to happen. Now, I want to make a comment. I think a lot of people want Poe to be Force sensitive, but I don't, for some reason I can't buy that. I mean, if it happened, and I would live with it, and I would actually probably really like it, but that's not one of my hopes. I actually hope, you're gonna hate me for it, but I hope that Disney allows Poe to be gay for Finn. And it's not like I want Finn to be gay. I don't actually ship them very much. I ship them maybe a little bit. I also ship Finn and Rey a little bit. But it's like, I want Poe, because he's fabulous looking. I'm not saying, like, fabulous. I'm saying, like, he actually looks, like, amazing. I want him to be, like, the first real non-conventional Disney prince. Because he could be gay. He could be gay. And I think that's a really good idea and a good step forward for Disney, but also it would make sense to me with how he acts and his character, especially with the way he interacts with Finn. I really think that that's a good idea for Disney to do. Now, I think I'm going to go on to the one that I actually wrote in all capital letters and underlined like 8 times. Force-sensitive Leia. Because we all know she's Force sensitive. It's one of those things where it's just a given because she's Luke's twin sister, and she's actually been, like, seen having the Force, like, feeling the Force. Like, when Han died, she felt him die. And there are other times, like in the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, where it looks like she's feeling the Force, but for some reason, we never hand her a lightsaber. We never actually train Leia. Why not? Why not? I want this new trilogy to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Leia is in fact Force sensitive and a Jedi. I mean, we don't have to go so far as a Jedi, and we know that she's Force sensitive, but I want this one to prove it. Because it's driving me nuts. People are just like, she can't be Force sensitive. I'm just like, do you know who her brother is and who her father is and what she actually acts like and how she feels things? She's clearly Force sensitive, but why not make it canon and let people actually see it so they can't deny it anymore? Because just because she's Leia and she's been around since the beginning of this saga in the 1970s, we can still have more character development with her. She's going to be in the next one. I don't know if she's going to be in 9, but she's going to be in the next one. So let it happen. Come on, guys. We all want this to happen. We all want to see it. Even if it's just for a little split second, we all want to see that happen. Okay. I don't know where to go now. I have a lot of hopes for Kylo, so I'm going to save him for the end. I think I'm going to talk about Snoke now. Okay, the most ridiculous freaking theory I've ever heard in my life is that Snoke is Jar Jar Binks. I mean, I can't take that things seriously. I don't know why people think that. I mean, there are some little, maybe tiny little aspects that make me think, oh, maybe he might be, but it's a crack theory at best. There's this one person who wrote an entire, thesis paper on how Jar Jar Binks is Darth Plagueis, who is Snoke, and it's just I don't know why they would do that, especially considering the writers of the show have said creating Jar Jar Binks was a mistake. What are we gonna do? He wasn't even that important in the beginning. In, the 1, 2, and 3, he wasn't even that important. I mean, yes, he caused the Senate to bring over some control to the Emperor. Well, not the Emperor, the Chancellor, then who became Emperor. But it's just I can't buy that he's Darth Plagueis. I would freaking cry if they did that to him. I mean, I am fully behind Darth Plagueis being Snoke. I think that's a completely legitimate theory. I could buy that. I could totally buy that. But it's just he's not Jar Jar Binks. And I want there to be more of Snoke so we see how much he fucks up Kylo's head. Because he does fuck up Kylo's head. How did he fuck up Kylo's head at the beginning? I want to know what happened that caused... Okay, this is actually going into Kylo now. I want to know what happened that caused Kylo to go to the dark side, when he really didn't have to, and at this point it just seems ridiculous that he's on the dark side, because it's basically... This is how I explained it. At least Anakin had a reason to turn to the dark side. He was trying to protect the people he loved, but at this point it seems like the only reason that Kylo's on the dark side is to be the president of Anakin Skywalker's fan club. I want to know why Kylo's on the dark side. And they better explain that, or so help me, I will sue. But yes, I want to know who Snoke is. I think he's Darth Plagueis, and I want to know how he survived when he allegedly was killed by Palpatine. So I think that would be a good thing. Now, I want to talk about Rey. Where did I write about Rey? I want Rey to play a key role in changing Kylo and to develop as the great character she is. I mean, that's a general idea where it doesn't leave much it leaves a lot to the imagination, but she is an amazing character. I've already sang her praise in the last video, but she is an amazing character. And I want her to keep developing into the great character she is hopefully going to become. I don't want the writers of the show to fuck her up, because you're writing a strong, independent female lead who has developed her powers very quickly, but not unrealistically, because Anakin and Luke did basically the same thing, if not even faster. But for some reason, it's more unrealistic for a girl to do that. But anyway, I don't want the writers of the show to fuck up her character, because I know J.J. Abrams, and I know what he could do. And I'm very frightened that if he's still involved in the next one, Rey won't be the Rey I want her to be. Now, the playing a key role in changing Kylo. There are two things with Kylo that I really want to talk about. I want Kylo to try to seduce Rey to the dark side. I really do. Because and more than just you need a teacher, more than just that. I think it would be really cool. I mean, it's clearly going to happen at some point, and if it doesn't, then I'll be like, I feel really fucked up from that it didn't happen. But it's most likely going to happen, so it's not really a hope, it's in when it's going to happen kind of thing. But he's going to try to seduce Rey to the dark side, especially after her powers have begun developing. And, begun developing more, because she is strong with the Force and he does want her on his side. But I want her when she's when he's trying to seduce her to the dark side, I want her countering that in like the movie after, like trying to seduce him back to the light. Because it kind of is with that's kind of bringing me with the whole maybe she's Palpatine's granddaughter theory, because that's a cool theory. I like that theory too. I don't know if I would get behind it, but I like that theory because it's like, then I know I'm going off on a little tangent, but whatever. I like the theory because Kylo is Darth Vader's grandson and Rey would be Palpatine's granddaughter, and Palpatine seduced Anakin to the dark side. So I think it would be cool if Rey tried to seduce Kylo to the light, and it actually worked because it worked with Anakin. Now, I don't believe that theory to be true. I don't think Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter because there's no proof of it, but it could happen. It could happen. I like the theory. I could live with it if that was true, but I don't know why. Anyway, I really just want there to be like them trying to seduce each other to either side, but I think it's going to be easier for Rey to seduce Kylo. And I'm not trying to say seduce like sexually, because Reylo I'm not a fan of. Not at all. Not unless he makes some changes and he figures himself out. And the biggest thing that I'm against is as long as they're not first cousins. That's the big thing. Like, people are just like, I ship Reylo, and I'm like, I can't ship Reylo until I know for a fact they're not first cousins. Because if they're first cousins, that's ridiculous. Okay, I get a little worked up when people talk about Reylo, because I'm like 99% sure that Rey is Luke Skywalker's daughter, and I just don't want that shit in my house. I'm not allowing that shit in my house. But, whatever. So I want a redemption arc for Kylo. Because there has to be. There has to be. I mean, we had a redemption arc for Darth Vader. We saw Darth Vader as a good... We saw Anakin Skywalker as a good guy, turning into the Sith Lord, becoming Darth Vader, being Darth Vader, and then all of a sudden at the end, Luke is just like, Father, I know you're not this, and I know there's good in you. I feel it. Please come back. And then Darth Vader selling out the Empire, and then it's kind of like a redemption arc. I like that. And I think it would be great for Kylo, and work actually probably more effectively than it did with Darth Vader. Because like, Kylo is such an edgelord. He's like on the cusp of both. Like, he actually says he feels the call to the light. Anakin Skywalker as Darth Vader did not feel the call to the light, I don't believe, until he met his son. And then he's just like, oh crap, I messed up. I need to fix this. So, I know my hair is a mess, but then he fixed it at the very end of his life, but he felt no remorse from Mustafar all the way to like maybe right before he met his son. Like, IRL. Well, in that universe, anyway. But I think it would be actually more intense and work actually more effectively for a redemption arc with Kylo, because he is such on the brink of, I could go either way. He's trying. This was my major problem with Kylo, and it's still a major problem that I have with him, even though I love him now. It's like, he is trying so hard to be a dark side Sith Lord. He is trying so hard to be dark and be as strong as Darth Vader. He is trying so hard, but he's clearly not. He might have force powers beyond our like knowledge at this point, but he's not strong enough in the dark side to be as strong as Darth Vader was. And I think it's just like, he could... appreciate his hissy fits now, because he is so conflicted. And being so conflicted, the redemption arc would be really effective and actually kind of would tie up everything, in my opinion. Now, I really need to see that. If they're going to do the redemption arc and they're not going to make him go full Sith, I'm just going to use Sith because it's easier, full dark side. If they're not going to make him go fully to the dark, then have this redemption arc that's so intense and so dark. Like, I need to know what happened that made him go to the dark side. We need that information. So they gotta freaking tell us, because all we know at this point is that he went crazy and killed the Padawan. And that's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for all of us. We deserve more. But I know I'm yelling. But I think the redemption arc could be really effective, and Rey has to play a big component in that redemption arc. I mean, if the whole redemption arc works out and they're not first cousins, I could maybe get behind Reylo. But right now, there is nothing in me that says Reylo is a possibility. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the people who ship Reylo. I am just trying to say that I can't do it. I can't do it right now. I totally respect your ship, but I can't do it for me. Because they are very likely first cousins, and that freaks me out. Like, I'm also kind of a fan of Supernatural. I can't stand when they ship Dean and Sam, because they're brothers. You can't do that. In my head, it's totally no. Everything about me makes me want to throw myself out the window when I see that. But it's just like, any close familial relation is a no for me. Anything is no. And since we don't know for a fact that Rey is not Luke's daughter, then I can't ship it. But if you can do it, because right now you don't know and they might not be, and it works for you, go ahead. But whatever. Now, back to the redemption arc. I think two things that are very, very, very important for the writers to include in the thing is Kylo force dreaming about Han and Anakin. And yes, I mean Anakin, not Darth Vader. He cannot appear as Darth Vader. Well, he could. That's another way you could go about it. He could appear as Darth Vader, but it's his soul. But I believe the Force and how they return and how they appear to people, or how they are on the inside. And at the end of Anakin's life, he was Anakin Skywalker. He was no longer Darth Vader. And I know it's ridiculous to suggest that Han could become a Force ghost, but they do say it's in everything, through everything, and there's midichlorians in everyone. So I think it's possible, considering he does believe in the Force, and he knows that the Force is real, and that the Jedi are real, and that the dark side is real. He knows that everything is real. I think there's a possibility that Han could come back as a Force ghost, trying to save his son. Even after death, even after Kylo killed him. And I think that would be crazy. Now, my big hope for Anakin coming as a Force ghost to Kylo is like him coming back and being like, Ben. And he calls him Ben because he knows that's his real name. Ben, do you know who I am? And then Kylo's just like, you're Darth Vader. And he says, my name is Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader was who I was when I was lost. And I feel you're the same. I have no work I want you to finish. I want you to finish the Empire, or the First Order, as it is right now. I need you to finish them off. I can't live. And then Anakin takes full responsibility. I know that it was my fault that the Sith came back. And I know it's my fault that the Empire destroyed the Jedi. And I know it's my fault for killing off all the Jedi. I know everything is my fault. And you're in this position because it's my fault. But I wanted to save the people I love. And you're just pushing them away. This is my I'm gonna cry. This is my worst fear for you, my grandson. I can't let what I did ruin your life, too. My life was destroyed by me turning to the dark side. I lost everyone I loved. I killed people I loved. And you have too. But you can turn back. I'm gonna cry. You can turn back. I did it at the end of my life. But you're not at the end yet. You can do it. You can do it now. And Anakin... I'm okay. I need that to happen just for me. That's one of my biggest wishes. That Anakin talks to Kylo, and Kylo tries to justify himself, but then Anakin comes out with this speech that just destroys everything. And I just destroyed myself. Oh. So those are my hopes for the new Star Wars trilogy. And honestly, I feel like my hopes will end the saga forever, though. And that's sad to think about, but my hopes could end the saga. I'm not ready for the end. But I also really want a lot of this stuff to happen because they have prime opportunity to do it. Not only the prime opportunity, but it just makes sense. And I just think everything would be so cool if it happened. Especially the Anakin thing. Basically everything on this list is everything I want. Like, this whole list is just, yeah, give it to me. Please, I'll ship it to the writers, be like, so this stuff right here, yeah, you could put this in your scripts. I could write them a script. No, bad idea. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was another long video. This was exceptionally longer than I wanted it to be. But when you got stuff to say, you got stuff to say, right? So, I hope you enjoyed it. May the Force be with you.